Hi everyone, welcome to AMS2. We're here at the Bugatti layout at Le Mans. We're in a Cadillac LMDH car. I'm going to run through a few little ideas and theories on braking in racing simulators, a few tips, how to set your pedals up, trail braking, etc, etc. Because honestly the biggest detriment to your lap time and the biggest difference between the slow guys and the fast guys is how they brake. Later braking is more mid-corner speed, is more speed down that next part of the circuit, and therefore better lap time all over. So we're going to run through how I set my pedals up, both in the software for your pedals and in the game. Really important to get both there set up well. I remember that's purely just how I do this. Could be right, could be wrong, but I've done it the same way on all my racing simulators for as long as I can remember. And so far it's worked pretty well for me. So what you've got to remember is you don't want to be smashing that brake pedal at 100% all the time. If you're trying to drive your foot through the pedal plate, you're going to fatigue very quickly. You're going to lose consistency with your braking because you're going to get fatigued. And braking is all about consistency, repeating the same process over and over again, picking the same brake marker over and over, the same brake pressure over and over again. Because sometimes you might do a 45-minute, 1 hour race, 2 hour race. So smashing the pedal really hard all the time works great for a short race. It doesn't go well for those longer races. So I work off the 80% theory. And that is I'm only going to use 80% of my maximum force to get full braking pressure in the game. And the way I do that is obviously through the software setup. So what I would do is I've obviously got Fanatec V3 pedals here. And they're actually quite soft, I suppose. You see there's quite a bit of a travel, quite a bit of play in that pedal. I do like that. It gives me the ability to smash that pedal quite aggressively at the start and bleed it off through the corner. So what I'll do, as I said in my software for Fanatec or whatever you've got, is I get out of your simulator, of course, load up your software, and we're going to set the maximum range for our brake pedal at 80% of our pressure. So what you're going to do is you're going to sit there in your game. I'm going to turn the HUD on here. You're going to sit there in your game and just not look at the display. Just hit that brake at a good pressure. You can repeat over and over again, lap after lap, and just at that 80% pressure, like I said. After about 30 seconds or so, you're going to basically have a look where it averages out. Wherever that sort of sits at that pressure, that's going to be your maximum setting for your braking. You're going to go into your racing simulator, do exactly the same thing there, set your pedal up for 80% pressure. I just find it gives you that nice little bit of leeway with the pedal and a nice bit of modulation as well. You can really be aggressive at the start of the braking zone and then bleed it off, which is the beginnings of trail braking. That brings us obviously now to the track. I think one of the biggest, most overlooked things is just purely track knowledge. Setting the car up, flowing the car nicely through the corners to give yourself a lovely straight braking zone into each corner. That's about plenty of practice, knowing the circuit like the back of your hand. So for example, up here at Le Mans, we're going to come up to the main straight. Obviously now there's a sweeping right-hander which goes into a chicane which has a left-hand bend. We're going to make sure we've got our car set up on the right hand side of this corner, hugging it nice and tight. When we hit the braking zone, it's nice and straight and gives us a beautiful angle to come in to that chicane. And that only comes through practice and just repetition. So track knowledge, knowing and what gear to be in as well. Super important that when you come to a corner, you don't think you need to be in a certain gear. You know, is this third gear, is it second gear? You have to know exactly what gear is coming up so you can get everything set up nice and lined up beautifully with your braking zone to hit that apex absolutely spot on. So in terms of trail braking, the way I think about that is the problem I see first with a lot of people with their braking is they brake in a very short part of the racetrack. If for example they brake at 150 metre marker, they've got all their braking done and dusted by say 40 or 50 metres out, and they're trying to turn the car in, and it's understeering out while they're scrubbing off speed and losing lap time. So what you've got to think about is elongating or stretching out that braking zone. So coming up here, I'm visualising a big red line all around this corner, braking the whole way through right to the apex and then feeding that throttle back in nice and progressively. So that to me is trail braking. Long braking zones, so you've got less pressure on the brakes but over a longer period of the racetrack. Instead of getting all the braking done in a very short period of time, we're stretching that out. So that for me, as I said, is the thought process behind trail braking and my feel when I'm hitting the brake pedal. We come up here, 100% pressure, 70, 60, 50, 40, 20, 5% there as we feed the throttle back in. That's trail braking. Long braking zones, elongate it, stretch it out. Almost using the brake pedal like a traction control. You're balancing the car. There will be a small part of the corner for a brief second or millisecond where your throttle and brake will overlap, and that's when the car is beautifully balanced. And by all means, use things like your HUD widgets and your Motec telemetry. I don't use that sort of stuff. That's just me. I'm more of a feel braking sort of person, but if that sort of telemetry helps you to see what you're doing around the lap, by all means use whatever you can to get the best lap time out of it. Again, this is a great corner here as well to practice. Holding brakes, 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 come off at the apex, feed that power back in. And again, the right-handers here. Lock up the gears, braking, 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 right to the apex, feed it back in. Locked up a little bit there, but the principle is there to see. I'll go for a hot lap now and try and put this into motion. I said try out the couple of things I've mentioned, see if it works for you, especially the 80% thing. Leave me a comment if you think it works, if you think it doesn't. Everyone's different, and everyone's different how they like their braking set up. If you are struggling, just have a go and see if it works for you. AMS2 really responds well to trail braking, a lot more so than a sim like AC, for example. AC is a lot more understeery. Again, nice long braking zone here. I think as well, because AMS2 could be the madness engine or just the tyre physics, it just responds better because it slides a little bit more. Trail braking really gets you a lot more lap time. Hold that brake all the way through the apex, feed that power back on. But again, this is not a theory at a certain car or a certain track. I brake like this all the time. It's just how I brake, whether you call it trail braking or not. For me, that is what trail braking is, and everybody has, again, different opinions on trail braking. You hear 1,000 different theories. So for me, the summary is a nice, long, elongated braking zone. And brake it all the way to the apex, feed that throttle back in, balance the car on the brakes. Alright guys, so I said try all that out. Thanks very much for watching, as always, and take care.